Let's dive into the music of David Gilmour. I bet you already know him, right? The legendary guitarist, the voice of Pink Floyd. But today, we're going to go deeper. We're going to see what makes his music so captivating. How his early years and his own style, shaped not only Pink Floyd's sound, but his solo stuff too.
Yeah, and a great guide for this musical journey is a document put together by iGluon Vinyls.
Oh, iGluon vinyls.
Yeah, you know them.
Love those guys. They're all about that classic vinyl sound, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Right, broadcasting straight from the California coast, too.
Oh, wow. Definitely worth checking them out after this if you want to keep those musical vibes going, for sure.
Absolutely. Now, to really get Gilmour's music, we got to go back to the beginning. He grew up in Cambridge, England, and his dad, get this, was a zoology lecturer.
Really? Wow.
But he also loved music, so...
It's funny how those early influences, they really shape an artist. Imagine young David listening to Elvis, Bill Haley, and then, bam, the Beatles hit the scene.
Yeah, talk about a musical awakening.
Totally.
It definitely lit a fire in him. He got his first guitar at 11, just totally immersed himself in music.
At 11? That's young.
Yeah. But here's what's fascinating. He took those rock and roll influences and he mixed them with blues legends like Lead Belly and even folk artists like Pete Seeger.
Wow, now that's a mix.
Yeah.
I mean, you could hear those bluesy roots in his playing, right?
Yeah.
Like that raw emotion. But then there's also that delicate touch, almost like storytelling. Maybe that's the folk influence.
Yeah, could be. And we can't forget those guitar heroes of the time, Clapton, Hendrix.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Huge influence.
Crucial, yeah, for understanding how Gilmour developed his own sound. He was soaking it all in, blending these different styles. Even in his early bands, Joker's Wild, he wasn't just playing, he was singing too.
Really?
Yeah, honing his skills, experimenting with phrasing, tone, finding his voice, literally and musically.
So then, 1968, things changed big time.
Right.
He joins Pink Floyd.
Huge turning point.
But it wasn't easy, was it? I mean, he replaced Syd Barrett. Syd, the founding member, the creative force, had to leave because of mental health struggles.
Tough act to follow.
Imagine that pressure.
Yeah, stepping into those shoes. But Gilmour, he didn't try to just copy Syd. He brought his own style, his own musical language to Pink Floyd.
And that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
He could have just focused on being the guitar god, but it's his emotive playing, how he blends that bluesy grit with these soaring atmospheric passages that really changed Pink Floyd's sound.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a pivotal moment for them, moving away from those psychedelic roots into a more, progressive, expansive sound. And Gilmour's talent for creating those sonic landscapes, those layers of emotion and texture, it played a huge role in that evolution.
Huge, yeah. So let's look at A Saucer Full of Secrets.
Yeah.
His first album with Pink Floyd. You can hear his influence emerging, right?
Right.
Especially tracks like Let There Be More Light, Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. It's such a captivating blend of those experimental sounds and melodic guitar.
Definitely. And then there's more. The soundtrack they did in '69 shows a different side of Gilmour, You hear his bluesy influences, the acoustic stuff really come through.
Like where?
Especially the Nile song, Cymbeline.
Oh, yeah.
It gives you a glimpse into his range, even back then. He wasn't just stuck in one style, one genre.
He was all over the place.
Yeah. And then, speaking of range, we have Metal from '71. Many see it as a precursor to Dark Side of the Moon.
Metal, oh yeah.
With that 23-minute epic, Echoes, Gilmour at his best. Haunting melodies, those atmospheric solos, harmonies. It's like a whole musical journey.
Yeah, Echoes. It's incredible. And I think it shows how Gilmour's approach to guitar wasn't just about playing notes. He was crafting soundscapes, atmospheres, using his instrument to tell a story.
Absolutely. And Obscured by Clouds from '72, another soundtrack. You hear his songwriting, that slide guitar.
Oh, yeah, right.
Especially on Childhood's End.
That slide guitar is something else.
It is. This early period was so important for him, developing that signature guitar tone, wouldn't you say? Smooth, sustained, so full of emotion.
Yeah, that's Gilmour.
Exactly. He's using delay, reverb, wah-wah pedals to shape his sound, plus those bending techniques, vibrato. It's technical, sure, but also so expressive, instantly recognizable.
It's Gilmour.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about Gilmour's, early years, how he came into Pink Floyd. But now things get really interesting.
Yeah, this is Pink Floyd hitting the global stage. Big time.
This is it. And Gilmour's talent as a guitarist, as a songwriter, it really shapes some of the most iconic albums ever.
It does, no question.
And it all starts with, of course, Dark Side of the Moon, '73.
Yeah.
This album, man, it's a concept album. Time, madness, societal pressures, it's all there.
And it just resonated with, like, everybody. I mean, it became a cultural phenomenon. Still is, really.
It is, and you hear Gilmour all over it. His solos, On Time, Money, Legendary, they're brilliant technically, but there's that raw emotion too, it just pours out.
It's true. And what's interesting about those solos, they're not just him showing off. They're part of the song. They build tension, release it, add to the emotional impact.
You're right. It's like he gets it, the power of space, of holding back. And then, let's not forget, the lap steel guitar on Breathe, the great gig in the sky. Haunting. Ethereal.
It really is. Like, he's painting with sound, creates these soundscapes that are beautiful, but also a little unsettling.
Totally. And his songwriting on Dark Side, can't forget that. He co-wrote several tracks, Breathe, Us and Them, the melodies, the harmonies, so memorable.
Yeah, for sure. Dark Side really made Pink Floyd one of the most innovative bands of the 70s. And a lot of that is how they took those experimental sounds and combined them with these really profound themes.
That's like music and the concept, they're perfectly matched. And Gilmour's role in that, huge. So then we move on to Wish You Were Here, 75. Tribute to Sid, reflection on the music industry, it's both.
Powerful album.
So powerful. And Shine on You Crazy Diamond, the centerpiece, it's just a masterpiece. 9 parts, sprawling, epic. Some of Gilmour's most beautiful and heart-wrenching guitar work.
It's true. You can feel the emotion, in every note.
Yeah, the way he builds those solos, the delay, reverb, breathtaking. And then you've got the simplicity of Wish You Were Here, the acoustic one. That riff, his vocals, it's a classic for a reason.
It is. And it's interesting how that album balances those big, epic moments with the quiet, intimate stuff.
Keeps you on your toes as a listener.
It does. And even on a more experimental track like Welcome to the Machine, Gilmour's use of synths, effects, it creates this unsettling atmosphere, like dystopian but captivating at the same time. Shows he wasn't afraid to experiment, even within Pink Floyd.
And then, of course, we got to talk The Wall, 79. Very theatrical, this album. Isolation, alienation, those are the themes. And it's often seen as Roger Waters' baby, but Gilmour's contributions, essential.
Absolutely. His solos on Comfortably Numb, legendary, some say the greatest ever.
They're iconic, right?
Yeah.
They build so slowly, and then, bam, that intensity, that feeling of numbness, and then release, it's all there.
And he co-wrote several tracks on The Wall. Comfortably Numb, of course, but also Run Like Hell, Young Lust. Proves he could write those hard-hitting rock anthems just as well as the introspective stuff.
He had it all. And The Wall, it really showcases how diverse Pink Floyd was musically. You've got the bombastic rock and then those quiet ballads, and Gilmour's guitar, it ties it all together.
It does, but, even as the band's success grew, the tensions between Gilmour and Roger Waters, they grew too.
Oh yeah, that's coming to a head.
Clash of creative visions. Eventually, Waters leaves early 80s.
And that's when Gilmour really steps up, leads Pink Floyd into a new chapter. But even before that, he started exploring his own path outside the band. So we've seen Gilmour, from those early days to shaping Pink Floyd's sound. But the story, it doesn't stop there.
No, not at all. I mean, those tensions within Pink Floyd, they really push Gilmour towards, I think, expressing himself more fully.
Yeah, like he had all these ideas, and he needed space to explore them.
Yeah.
Outside the band.
Right. And that's what leads him to his solo career.
It does.
His first solo album, David Gilmour, came out in '78, right in the middle of those Floyd tensions.
Wow, so he's juggling both worlds at this point.
He is, and that album, it's really something. Intricate, almost jazzy moments, but then you get those big Gilmour solos too, soaring, emotive.
Puts out it all.
Yeah. Critics loved it, praised his guitar work, his songwriting, tracks like There's No Way Out of Here, Mihalis. They show his talent for creating these atmospheric, almost cinematic sounds.
It's a different side of him, for sure. More personal, maybe. Then in '84, he releases About Face. That one had a bit more of a pop feel, right?
It did, and get this, he collaborated with Pete Townsend from The Who.
No way.
Yeah. Pete wrote lyrics for some of the tracks.
Which ones?
Love on the Air, All Lovers Are Deranged, a few others.
Wow. So did it work? Like, was it a good mix?
Oh, yeah. And tracks like Blue Light, Murder, they became hits, showed another side of Gilmour's songwriting.
He wasn't afraid to, try new things, huh?
Not at all. About Face proved he could adapt his style, but still make music that was both, commercially successful and artistically satisfying.
It's a tough balance.
It is. Then, after a long break, he comes back with On an Island in 2006.
On an Island, yeah.
A triumphant return.
It was.
Amazing guest artists on this one. David Crosby, Graham Nash, even Richard Wright from Pink Floyd.
Wow, that's a lineup.
It is. And the
Yeah.
album, it's just beautiful. Lush soundscapes, introspective lyrics, tracks like Kestel Horizon, the title track, On an Island. They create these sonic worlds you can just get lost in.
Yeah, you really can.
His guitar playing on that album, as masterful as ever, full of emotion, fits perfectly with the mood of the music.
Each note has a purpose, tells a story.
Exactly. And then, in 2015, Rattle That Lock, his fourth solo album. A real mix of styles on this one. Blues, jazz, even classical influences.
Oh, wow, like what?
Well, the title track, it's actually inspired by a melody from Gabriel Fauré's Requiem.
Really? That's wild.
Yeah, shows you how Gilmour could pull inspiration from anywhere. And once again, he worked with his wife, Polly Sampson, on the lyrics, plus a bunch of other musicians like Jules Holland, Micah Paris. Really diverse.
So across his whole solo career, he explored so much, always pushing those creative boundaries.
He did, but what's amazing is his impact, on other musicians, music lovers worldwide.
Oh yeah, his influence is huge.
Huge. You can't deny his influence on guitar playing. Those phrases, bends, soaring solos, instantly recognizable. He inspired generations of guitarists.
We're on the technique though, right?
Right. It's the feeling he puts into it. Those solos in Comfortably Numb, Time, Shine On, they connect with you emotionally.
They do.
And his willingness to experiment, create those unique textures, that's been influential too, a true innovator. His work with Pink Floyd, it helped define progressive rock. And his solo stuff, it shows his versatility, his ability to make music that's both timeless and deeply personal.
And then there's the cultural impact. His music with Pink Floyd and solo. It's part of the soundtrack of our lives.
Absolutely.
Films, TV, radio, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Crosses generations.
Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, they still sell millions of copies. And songs like Comfortably Numb, Wish You Were Here. Classic Roth staples, that's a true legend.
It is.
His music, it transcends time, connects with people on a deep level. It makes you think, it makes you feel, it takes you on a journey.
It really does.
So as we wrap up this dive into Gilmour's world, I'm left with a question. What is it about his playing, beyond the technical stuff, that makes it so emotionally powerful, so enduring?
That's a question worth thinking about. And hey, if you're looking for more, to keep exploring music, especially that classic vinyl sound, I highly recommend checking out iGluon vinyls on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys are spinning those sweet sounds of the 70s, 80s, 90s straight from the California coast. It's the perfect way to keep the music flowing.
It is. Thanks for joining us on this dive into the world of David Gilmour. Until next time, keep exploring the music that moves you.